First off, we're going to be talking with Buddy Johnson, who is a local historian and librarian at the Downtown Library. As Larry Johnson, he writes our Oklahoma Images spots. So, Buddy, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Good to see you on this side of the camera for a change. What is the book you want to talk about?
Well, it's a book called that I contributed to called Sooner Cinema, Oklahoma Goes to the Movies.
Okay.
It's from 46 Star Press.
All right, and it is, a collection. You know, this is silly. I'm acting like I don't know what this book is, and I contributed an essay to it as well.
That's right.
So it is a collection of essays.
That's right.
And what is the theme of the book, though?
Well, the guiding principle there was that it's movies. It's essays about movies that are set in Oklahoma or have characters from Oklahoma.
Okay.
So, and we hit all the big, titles in there. So
yeah, Grapes of Wrath is in there. Oklahoma Kid is in there. I have to say Oklahoma Kid because that's one of the essays that I contributed to it. And you and I worked together on an essay about what?
Well, it was about actually it's one of the only ones that didn't deal with the specific movie, and it dealt with this character that was present in the golden age of Hollywood in the 30s. That was the Oklahoma tycoon. Mainly an oil tycoon, but it was this sort of character that existed at the time that sort of was a foil for the sophisticated Easterner and as sort of a straight man for a lot of the comedies of the era.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I can't think of any of those films where that character was the lead character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always the guy who is like straight man, I guess you call it, but the person who remains the same throughout, while the lead changes or transforms or whatever. But you really did the Hollywood part, and I kind of did the cultural part.
The historical part.
Right.
Yeah, but it was fun. I enjoyed working with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
We think enough alike that we didn't have to fight.
Yeah,
over
I was
anything.
actually surprised that we got along so well.
Well, the main movie that we talk about in this essay was The Awful Truth, and that's the one that probably is the most available of any of the films that we talked about in there.
Right.
Tell the folks a little bit about what the storyline is of The Awful Truth.
Well, in The Awful Truth, it's Cary Grant and Irene Dunn are a squabbling couple who, at the beginning of the movie, they've just separated or made plans to separate. And they're typical of that time period. They're sophisticated Easterners, well off, don't seem to really have any gainful employment, but have plenty of money and live on Fifth Avenue, etc. And so in the time that they're separated, an Oklahoma oil man appears at the residential hotel where Irene Dunn lives and begins to court her. And she and her aunt are just, basically using him for his money and all that kind of thing. And so they, as the movie progresses, Cary Grant becomes jealous of the Oklahoma oil man, and he's not really a hick per se, but he's just a regular guy. And it shows up the other characters Cary Grant's characters being shallow and empty and all that, and so he becomes better, and they do get back together. So the key line is where Cary Grant makes fun of him of his wife actually by saying, she says, "We'll live in Oklahoma City," and he says, "Not Oklahoma City itself, and if it gets boring, you can always go to Tulsa for the weekend."
Yeah.
It's just so.
Now, you said you wrote about the Oklahoma City's reaction to the film, and it was surprisingly positive, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they loved it. They thought it was funny, and I think they were in on the joke that he was really making fun of the woman, that Cary Grant was making fun of his ex-wife, not of Oklahoma City, of which he most likely knew nothing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Cary Grant knew that it was a real place.
Right, and that's really the point of our essay, was that the funny thing was that at that time, you could film almost any movie or character from Oklahoma because it was so diverse and so There were so many different, everything from the Wild West to the skyscraper. There are plenty of characters available, and they did use us for a lot of things.
Right. I think we comment on the fact that if you needed a hick sheriff, you could always say he was from Oklahoma. If you needed a warm-hearted farm family, you could say they were from Oklahoma.
Right.
Whereas if you said they were from Texas, that brings its own baggage.
Right. Exactly. Right. So.
Yeah. So where did the idea for the book come from?
Well, it's actually kind of I'm a Gen Xer, so to speak, and Gen Xers love to sit around and talk about, what's better, Marianne or Ginger, or, make lists and compare things. And my friends and I have always done this, talked about movies from Oklahoma and whether they got it right or not. And so, I don't know, it just seemed like a topic that was calling out for a book. There's never really been a book about Oklahoma movies, my wife owns the publishing company, and so we put together the book, and I contributed half an essay, and you contributed 1.5.
Yeah.
We did bounce it off a film critic in town, and he thought it was a crazy idea, so we thought it would be great to go for it. I know, film
Those
critics.
guys, they're all full of themselves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and the publishing company is called 46th Star Press.
That's right, named after the state's birth order.
And what's coming up? Is there going to be a sequel to this?
We have had a lot of people be interested in a second book. A lot of writers that want to be in on it, and a lot of the writers we approached a few writers who weren't available at the time, but they definitely want to contribute. So if the public gets behind and supports this book, well, we'll come out with a second one.
Yeah.
So.
And most of the writers in the book are
They have
Oklahomans.
something to do with Oklahoma. They don't all live here anymore, and that's part of the fun of the book. Is a lot of them are writing as expatriates, and again, like I said, all the big film, Oklahoma, Far and Away, Cimarron, all the big movies are covered. And really the guiding, in the introduction, the editor Larry Van Meter says that we're just trying to find out where we are in film and who we are in film, and it's been really fun.
All right, the book again is
Sooner Cinema.
Oklahoma Goes to the Movies, featuring essays by Larry Johnson and by me and several other people who are actually talented.
That's right.
Okay, thanks for being with us. And when you do a sequel, not only am I in, but you're in too.
Okay, great.
Okay, coming up next is one of our Oklahoma Images moments that was written by Larry Johnson. Here it is.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris. When you visit your library's website at www.metrolibrary.org, you can browse our collection of vintage photographs of early Oklahoma City. But right now, here's Oklahoma historian and author Bob Burke to share some stories about these fascinating photos.
During the Great Depression, hundreds of families began to congregate in the river bottoms along the North Canadian River, most sleeping in cars or flimsy shacks without running water or sewage facilities. The city was already known as a place where a drifter would be fairly treated, but the Depression brought many families with children to the camps after jobs and homes had been lost. Health officials feared outbreaks of typhoid and tuberculosis if conditions were not improved. City Manager Albert McCrill decided to relieve the suffering of these families along the river. He coordinated the efforts of the Salvation Army, health officials, engineers, and private charities, and then used city funds to purchase land along South Pennsylvania Avenue near the river. The city laid out dirt streets and dug wells, then built cheap shacks, a clinic, and a school. The charities then provided the social services. At first it was known as Irby's Camp, but later as Community Camp. Community Camp soon became a model program for the nation. Several leaders from around the country visited the camp, and similar programs were initiated in more than 20 cities. The Oklahoma City model is widely credited with providing the model for President Franklin Roosevelt's federal relief programs. Oklahoma City showed the world what local government working with private organizations could do to help its citizens.